And welcome back with another episode of Built to Last, a bond more than love. I have a really cool guest, really special guest on today. Kesi has actually been a friend of mine. I met through my wife. She and my wife ran track together in college, have been friends for a long time. She's a world traveler that puts most people with a passport to shame. So I'm excited to have her on today. She's got a pretty special love story that I like to kind of figure out, like, what is this pattern of people finding love internationally. It's pretty cool. So Kesi, I'm excited to have you. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I know you've been literally all over the world. Like, catch us up. Like, where are you now? What are you doing?
Yeah, for sure. Um, I've been traveling around the world for 5 years, but because of the pandemic, I finally had to settle down a little bit. And I'm currently living in Budapest, Hungary with my German boyfriend. It's the first time I've had an apartment in 5 years.
And so what was it like beforehand if it wasn't just you being in an apartment? Like, how were you kind of living and moving around?
I was living out of my backpack. So I have carry on only luggage. Uh, Literally just traveling around the world. My whole game plan was back in 2015. I quit my job with the plan to travel for 1 year, but somehow that 1 year transformed into a whole nomadic lifestyle. And I've literally been globetrotting around the world, visiting um, every continent besides Antarctica, just living life and meeting people.
Yeah. Because a lot of people are outside of the pandemic, traveling a lot more. Like, what do you feel like traveling did for you and does for you personally?
Yeah, so for me, uh, I just love learning people's stories. Because for me, what I love about traveling is meeting the people that live there, meeting the locals who are there, seeing what the way of life is like, and just start having conversations. I'm not into like just going to like the top touristy things to do, like sightseeing. I'd rather go to a bar and like start talking to the stranger next to me, just try to get a feel of what life is like living there.
Yeah.
So yeah, traveling has definitely like broadened my horizons. I was already pretty non-judgmental before, but now I'm like, my patience for people is really high. I understand we all have different backgrounds, and that makes who we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone needs to travel more. It's really been a blessing, um, and I'm very fortunate for the life that I have.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that your patience has increased for people in general, because I mean, let's face it, like, in a relationship, like, you need patience, right? Like, there's all these little quirks and mannerisms that your partner can have that can just get under your skin. And it's ironic, but I'm gonna say this was planned. The fact that your experience traveling made you more patient and has given you those qualities. And now going into a relationship where you're kind of a little bit more settled, do you feel as though that patience has transferred over?
That is a very interesting point. I think it's almost the opposite for me because I'm patient. I'm patient in the sense of um, like dealing with people, but I've been so independent for nearly 5 years, like traveling by myself. Whatever I want to do, I get to do it. I'm the only one I have to consult with.
Right.
So now that I have a partner, it's like, whoa, I can't just do everything I want when I want. So I'm learning how to have patience in a relationship. I
Yeah.
think there is a difference. But yeah, maybe I should use what I've learned from traveling into my relationship as well.
It's okay. I won't charge you for that. That was absolutely free. But I'm interested in the story, because a lot of people have this narrative, especially that maybe came from our parents or grandparents' generation, where there was this notion of, you travel for X amount of years, and then you settle down. And I don't think that that narrative supported finding love internationally. I think that narrative was very much, you travel, do what you want to do, and find love back home. But you found love internationally. Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I like my first year abroad, I wanted to have that like love story. I just wanted to find someone, like travel the world, fall in love. That was my goal. But I realized this type of lifestyle, it is kind of hard to find a partner. So eventually, once I wasn't even looking to have a boyfriend or anything, I meet this German fella, and um, he won over my heart. And yeah, for me, since I had this nomadic lifestyle, it is a lot easier just to uh, take my backpack and move abroad because the world is my oyster anyway.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so for me, settling down doesn't have to be in the US. I always had an open perspective on where I could technically settle.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do think travel will always be like a big part of my life.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. And so like, what was, I guess, what was different about this scenario, right? Because I mean, you're meeting a lot of people, like you said. I mean, you're forming all kinds of friendships, relationships with awesome people that you're meeting all over, right? So like, what was different about this scenario?
The difference in this scenario is that it wasn't a superficial relationship. Whereas in the past, I've had people comment, like, I have a lot of friends all over the world, but when I'm constantly going from place to place, how deep can I really build these relationships with people that I'm making?
Mhm.
Yeah, I might fall fast for someone and think like, oh, we share a great connection, but like I realize I still had a lot to know about this person. So um, everything was just like seemed like nice and positive because I was just there for a short amount of time. But with my current partner, we developed a relationship after 2 years of talking to each other every day and just really getting to know each other on not a superficial manner, which is a lot of my relationships are like.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think just really understanding and going deep and like learning how to have patience with someone um, made this relationship different than others.
Wow. And I think that's very interesting. Like, it sounds like, you were in a different place, but also something that caught my ear just now was the fact that you guys were communicating for 2 years. Like, that's no easy feat to maintain that. Like, because I'm assuming at the time you were still traveling, right? And you were communicating. Like, what would you say to someone who might be looking to have that approach? Like, what was sort of the best practices like of that? Like, why did it work?
Yeah, I'm. It's natural for me. I love staying connected to people. I like. I'll use Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever. I love staying connected to people. And even though when I first met my partner, we didn't think we would grow into the relationship that we have right now.
Hmm.
Um, we just started chatting, and then it just didn't. It never stopped. uh, so in terms of how to make that work, I guess if you do have an interest in someone, don't be scared to be the first one to text or play those games or anything. Just like if you generally have a curiosity and want to get to know someone more, just reach out, keep talking, see how their days are going, get to know one another. And we just kept kept talking and talking. Eventually, we had more visits. Where we met in Croatia, uh, like on a sailing trip. But we've also like been to New York, Miami, Germany, Lithuania together. So like we've also have traveled a bunch of places while we were texting in between.
Oh wow. So was he a fellow nomad too?
No,
Okay.
but he was based in Berlin, Germany.
Hmm.
Um, and as I said, we didn't meet for this company. Like, we both work for the same company over the summer called the Yacht Week,
Hmm.
which is they do sailing cruises in Croatia. So I think anyone who works for this type of company has a little bit of wanderlust in them.
Okay.
Uh, so I think that helped us share a connection. But he was always based in Germany, but we found ways to connect globally.
That's cool. That's super cool. So it sounds like when he was traveling and you were traveling, you guys said, hey, I'm going to be in this area. Let's meet up. And you guys made it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. I absolutely love it. I love it because it's very similar to some things that I talk to my clients about is like when you already have a goal in mind, you guys have the same goal. It doesn't matter how you get there. You guys are going to figure out how to get there. So you guys said, hey, you know what? We know we want to see each other. So now it's just a matter of where are we going to do it?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's awesome. That's really, really awesome. And so, okay, you guys were communicating for 2 years. You guys were traveling. You guys were talking, staying connected. And then was it the pandemic that made you guys say, okay, hey, let's go ahead and solidify things, or were there other reasons that made you guys say, let's solidify things?
Yeah, I guess I'm a pretty non-traditional person in a lot of aspects in life, and that comes with relationships as well.
Mhm.
Um, this is my first boyfriend I've had in my adult life. I had a boyfriend when I was like 14, but I guess that doesn't really count.
Yeah,
Uh,
right, right.
but yeah, I'm 30. I'm 30, and like this is my first official boyfriend. But technically, we didn't become boyfriend girlfriend until I moved to Budapest September 1st. Like we already had plans to get an apartment together in Budapest,
Mhm.
but the day I actually flew out here, that's when he officially asked me to be his girlfriend. So we were already planning to live together, even if like we don't have the title or whatnot.
Right.
Um, but yeah, he my like I always knew I had a connection with this person,
Mhm.
but it's just like we really want to spend quality time together and seeing e- one another like every couple months. It's fun and all, but like, do you really know the person yet? So yeah, our real test was once we moved in together. Um, yeah, so now we're official. Hey.
Right. If I had some confetti, I'd like throw it up for you, you know. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so it's been a few months, and I'm sure like everybody else in quarantine, like like there's challenges and there's rewards. Like, what has been the biggest benefit for you guys in this past few months?
um, yeah, I when I it's the first time I settled down in 5 years.
Mhm.
Um, both of us are living in a new city together, so it's like one like okay, living in this new city, what do we want to go explore? And the COVID restrictions weren't things were pretty open in Hungary when we got here.
Mhm.
So really, it was just nice to be able to explore a new destination together. And recently, as of maybe like a week and a half, we're in more of a lockdown here. So I
Mhm.
think we'll have even more of a test because usually during the days I'd go to cafes and stuff like that, but now we're in the house together all the time because everything's closed.
Yep.
Um, I mean, I'm excited because like I like seeing him and spending more time with him, but I just hope I'm not too annoying.
You know what? It's funny because as guys, like we secretly love it. Like we might say like, oh my gosh, like, why are you always on me? But we secretly kind of love it. Like we do. No
That's
worries.
good. That's good.
Yeah. No worries there. No worries. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, I know that you had, a pretty inventive and very creative way of kind of, keeping yourself busy. Like you got like your blog, you got things that you're working on that are very personal to you. Like tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the pandemic kind of like did a shift in focus for me because I've been traveling for 5 years, supporting myself with seasonal work. So over the summer, I would work. That's how I met my boyfriend for like 2 or 3 months. But obviously, this summer my job was canceled. So it's like, okay, Casey, you need to figure out how to make money.
Mhm.
um, so now I've had a website since I started traveling, but I never took it super seriously. But with the pandemic, I've really um, take like I've been full force, full time working on my travel blog, and now I can proudly say I'm a professional travel blogger.
Nice.
Um, I have a lot of content to write. I show other adventurous souls how to travel further and deeper without breaking the bank. So if anyone wants to learn how you can travel for 5 years like me, I'll let you know. Go to my website.
Awesome.
um, but yeah, for me. It's been um, a great adventure to be in a new city, working on my own business, being in love. These are all things I didn't have a year, 2 years, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a really exciting time, at least.
No, that's great. I'm happy for you with that. So how can people support with what you're doing with your travel blog? Like, where can they support that?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Kesi To and Fro. My name is spelled Kesi, a little bit different with the hashtag follow the fro. That's where I'm documenting my life here in Budapest, but also it's filled with my other travels as well. Or if you go to my website, which is www.kesi2andfro.com, um, that's where I share all the real secret tips and tricks on how to make money while you travel, how to budget while you travel, and then also just for me, as I said, I love connecting with locals while abroad. So I share local stories and um, just like ways to show you to travel deeper in the countries you're visiting.
Awesome. And we're gonna have that information displayed on the different platforms that we launched this on. So it'll be on our YouTube page, it'll be on the Instagram. So you don't have to worry about that. So everybody will have your information and be able to connect with you. But I think it's absolutely phenomenal. So kudos to you.
Thanks. Hashtag follow the fro.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So we'll transition to the next segment, which I absolutely love. I know our guests are always enjoying it. Two truths and a lie. I don't know my percentage. I feel like I'm like 80% in the range trying to guess these. So the way we'll do it is that you throw out your two truths and one lie in any order that you want, and I'll try to guess them.
Cool. Well, since I am a traveler, I'm going to keep them like travel focused.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so one, I have bribed cops in Thailand to avoid going to jail. Two, I have gotten a free bungee jump in New Zealand by getting naked.
Okay.
And three, I have bitten the heart of a snake in Vietnam.
Ooh, those are good. Those are really good. Okay. I know you to be a free spirit, so I'm gonna say the bungee jumping one is true. The heart of a snake. That's I don't know, and this is going off of my like animal knowledge. I don't know of a snake that's that huge, but it's not to say that you didn't find one that's like a dinosaur type one that you might have like went in, but it could have been the heart of another animal. So I'm gonna say that one's a lie. I'm gonna say the first one is true because I've seen how cops can get bribed in other countries. So I'm gonna say the first two are true, but then the third one might be like a different animal.
I have bitten the heart out of a snake. They slit it open and I ate the snake heart. It was a snake feast. We ate the whole body eventually.
What? That's awesome. Okay, which one was a lie?
The lie was I have never bribed the cops in Thailand.
Oh
I'm a
man.
good girl. I'm a good.
That is so funny. That is funny. Wow, that's awesome. That is really, really cool. Kesi, I have one more question for you. I did not prompt this on you. I don't prompt any of my guests on this question because I want to hear a very raw and authentic answer. And that is, what is your definition of a healthy relationship?
Oh, a definition of a healthy relationship. For me, it's just two people who really help each other grow and become better people. Um, and as long as you keep, yeah, as long as you both are encouraging others like to be your best self, then I think that's a healthy relationship.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Kesi, thank you very much. This is an absolutely amazing conversation. I know my guests, hopefully they're like pulled off on the side of the road and don't hear like, oh my gosh, you hit a snake and like, when they're listening to this. But thank you so very much for your stories, for your candor. I know that for sure you've added value to our listeners there.
Thanks. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. I will see you later, Kesi. Take care.
Bye.